guys, I'm Blood Doll and I'm watching fucked up movies so that you don't have to. I've been amping myself up for this movie, getting myself emotionally prepared. This week I am talking about the ever infamous Serbian, just my boobs in the way, Serbian film. Genuinely, I don't know why I did this to myself. I first watched this movie in about 2011, not long after it came out. I believe I was at a house party. It was the era of online violence, rotten.com, best score, 2 girls, 1 cup. The most fucked up shit on the internet is what us teenagers were watching. Was it a simpler time? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So, when a Serbian film came around, we were scratching all our little rat hands together, so excited to see the most fucked up feature-length film ever. And I certainly don't think it disappointed us at all. So, without further ado, let's begin the torment. Plot follows a character called Milos. He is a retired porn actor. He quit the industry at the top of his game and decided to get away from the exploitative porn industry and have a nice quiet life with the family. When money starts to dwindle and Milos's child's education becomes more and more important, he is offered one last final job from a very ominous director who refuses to give him any information about exactly what he will be shooting. Red flag straight away. What the fuck, Milos? After being offered a huge sum of money, Milos decides to sign this contract even though he has no fucking idea what they're asking of him. Good job. Milos is then non-consensually spiked with bull testosterone. And becomes literally a beast of fuck. And goes on to commit the most depraved, violent acts throughout this movie at the coercion of the director and this team. But he was non-consensually spiked, so he doesn't know he's doing it, he's not aware. He's in this completely primal form of fuck beast. If you don't already know what happens in this movie, look it up. But basically, anything you could think of, the worst things you could think of happen in this film. There's no poo in this film, I don't think. There's no poo. But other than that, everything else, nothing's off the cards. Nothing is off the cards in this film. Good job about the poo thing though, yay. Essentially, the movie goes from bad to worse. Everyone's lives are ruined. This movie became instantly infamous for how graphic it was and being known as essentially the most graphic movie of all time, which I think it is, actually. Very little is implied. Everything is stuck right in the camera, right? You see everything. This movie, the graphic content, level of discomfort for the viewer, the absolutely nightmarish ordeal that the characters go through, and the undeniable evil of the director. Turns out it's all a metaphor for post-war Serbia. So, quick history lesson. Back in the 90s, when Yugoslavia fell apart, every republic wanted independence. Croatia, Bosnia, Slovenia, and eventually the others too. Serbia, the largest republic, controlled most of the Yugoslav army, which gave it a major advantage when the conflicts began. As the wars broke out, the world largely saw Serbia as the aggressor, trying to keep other republics under its control and carve out Serb territories within them. Forces backed by Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic. He was a dictator, actually, so if I get his name wrong, boo-hoo. Anyway, forces backed by its Serbian leader Slobodan Milosevic were accused of horrific war crimes. And those images of these wars were dominating the Western world and their media, turning Serbia into the perceived villain of all of the conflict. Inside Serbia, Milosevic ruled through fear and propaganda, using state-controlled media to manipulate public opinion. It was fucked up. So when the wars ended and his regime collapsed, Serbia was left completely shattered, economically ruined, completely isolated from the rest of the world, and deeply, deeply traumatized. The shift to capitalism brought mass unemployment, poverty, and disillusionment. The entirety of Serbia was under a great, great depression. They had no idea what it was going to take for their future to be rebuilt. And this is exactly what the movie is based on. So Milos, the retired actor who just wanted to get out of the industry and lead an easy life, is a metaphor for the Serbian everyman whose body and brains were exploited for profit and entertainment by their dictator. Or villainous director who non-consensually coerced the everyman into performing into a grotesque political war or a fucked up porno. You see what they're doing there? It's all very political, really. The constant violence and rapes that our main character in a Serbian film is forced into is a representation of what the country was forced into by its own authorities. Serbia watched itself in the Western media become the world's biggest villain without ever knowing it was going to happen or just how far it would go. Just like Milos. So, is it a good movie? I think it's a fairer question to ask, is it a successful movie? Does this movie evoke a really, really strong reaction from the viewer? Yeah, fuck yeah. I personally find this film a little bit predictable. Even with its graphic violence, even in parts that you don't see coming, the storyline, the plot, I kind of knew where it was going from the beginning. Despite its super graphic content, after watching this a couple of times, especially with a more critical eye, I was actually taken out of the shock by some of the scenes because they came across a little bit humorous. Now that might sound really fucked up and I don't mean it to be, but for example, there is one scene where Milos is getting ready for a big scene or whatever, and he's at home and he's essentially doing cock push-ups, which is just mental in itself. While Milos is doing this cock push-up, it's essentially filmed from a POV angle, meaning the camera's just going up and down as if it's his knob. Which, little things like that take me out of how scary and graphic and horrific this movie is when you've got those little kind of almost like slapstick things going on there. There's a couple of other things in this movie that come off a little silly, a little slapstick. But credit where credit due, this is actually a beautifully shot film. It's very gorgeous to look at. It reminds me hugely of the Italian giallo films. Its use of dreamlike, violent, stylized scenes. Its use of deep color, deep reds, neon flashes, things like that. Like, visually, it's gorgeous. Giallo films also often blur the line between art and eroticism and horror. So that movie definitely took that line and just fucking ran with it. This is always what I do. I talk about like really fucked up movies that you should definitely not watch. Then I'm like, but it was shot beautifully. But this was shot beautifully. It was good. The use of color and lighting is phenomenal. If you want to watch this movie, I really do warn you, it is not for the faint-hearted. Please go into this movie remembering it is a political metaphor. Reading about it has certainly changed my opinion about how I feel when I'm watching it. Also know this is not going to be your favorite film and this is not going to be your comfort film. Everything that comes on screen is a symbol of a country that was torn, manipulated, left in the dark. It shows you how man can become beast, and I think that's the fucking horror in itself. But before you judge the filmmaker, ask yourself this, friends. What is more terrifying? The artist who exposes this darkness, or the world that created it in the first place? Till next time, babies. See you later.